used to have a Westlaw subscription years ago. I'm going to recapture my subscription and move with it from there. Give everybody some of the preliminaries daily while I go grab me some water.
Preliminaries into
what we got going on, how to access, and anything you want to talk about. As far as your case going on, I can hear you, but let me go grab some water.
Oh, okay. I think one of the things we're talking about, beefing up that membership as soon as possible. Being able to have a place where we can all, come in and watch and train on videos and things like that, and things we've already talked about. And now that parallel search is down, trying to find an alternate tool or platform we can use. And I think I think that a lot of them have been pushing towards AI platforms lately, which is what I think Thomson Reuters is trying to do right now. But I'm not exactly sure what their game plan is. But did you end up finding out if you could get the data for what you had before?
My understanding is that I cannot recapture all of that data, which is heartbreaking.
Damn.
I probably have 1,000, if not more, saved folders and what have you. As far as recapturing the information, I had to ask the question because I'm, pretty sufficiently informed and as to how to do continue to do research and what have you. I can get the information if the question comes back up. But as far as having it set up the way that we had it, no, pretty much people lost something really sweet, didn't they?
1,000%. And like you said, yeah, thankfully for me, I'm able to recall the information, which was the thing I had to learn, and not just, memorize it. Because now I was thinking about there's a case law that I had for my case, which I had to go pull up. And I didn't know the case number by name, but I knew the context and how to search for it. So those are one of those skill sets you want to develop in this process.
Yeah, and that's a pretty important skill to have, but we can work through anything and everything. By the way, if you want to talk, you got to press, I think, your screen, your hand comes up, and we can go with it from there. One of the other things I think people should be aware of is the process is never going to be easy. Okay. And what we're learning, because there's so many of us within our groups, our fellowship groups, or whatever you want to call them, that are going through different stages of their cases, we're kind of helping each other through them, but people are soldiering through. I've had a couple other guys had some pretty good outcomes as it came to time sharing. We call it time sharing in Florida, and that's always a good thing. Maybe they'll come on and talk about it. And also, there's a few more guys who are already successful that found out that I was doing these things. They said I should reach out to them. They said they wouldn't mind coming on, and hopefully they will. But with that being said, I started talking about my case that involved State Farm, Dr. John Shim, Austin Road Basketball Professional Association, Shim Spine, and of course the United States government. It's a case that I filed earlier this year. I have now successfully served everyone with the exception of Linda Tucker. I believe, they said, to my knowledge, I haven't served her yet. I'm waiting for them to let me know that she's been served, and we're moving along. But let me tell you how some of this stuff works. They actually sent me a letter, which is called a safety harbor letter, asking me to withdraw my claim. And they started kind of doing a recitation of the facts and what have you. But in this recitation of the facts, Jackass happens to admit everything that I said, and he doesn't, but he kind of slickly failed to mention that all of the parties at the mediation conference never, other than himself, never filed what's called a certificate of attendance and authority, which is mandatory under Florida law. It's pretty interesting. And of course, I typically don't say anything disparaging about attorneys, but I will say something about Michael Rowe and Austin Rowe and Basketball. Nothing that I've ever said about them is untrue. It wasn't a deposition, and I had the transcript. I mean, not a deposition. It wasn't a hearing, and I have the transcript where one of their attorneys said we've had other cases, unrelated cases, where patients treated the VA, which is the Veterans Administration Hospital, see Dr. Shim, who was actually the compulsory medical examiner for State Farm, who saw me at State Farm as their expert witness, never disclosed to me that he was a VA doctor. 2 months later, I see him at the VA. And I'm thinking, okay, he actually treated me at the VA. I just saw him. He treated me at the VA. And we all are familiar with Title 18 USC 208. So that's my case that is going on now. I'll probably do some breakdown videos that are not so much associated with the Q&A. But do you have any questions about your case, or anybody have any questions in general? I'm here to answer any questions generally, whether it's about child support, we want to talk about public policy, constitutional provisions, how executive orders actually are supposed to work versus what some people may think. The executive order is not law. It's just like an edict to the federal bureaucracy as to this is what I want you to follow, but it can't override prescribed law. It just cannot. We have a president. We don't have a king. Okay, it doesn't work that way. And there's a system of checks and balances. So the courts can push back on against what is deemed a constitutional violation. And then, it can always be appealed to the United States Supreme Court. So I just wanted to give that out as a general blanket statement. Another thing I wanted to talk about, and I see that, Dele. Can you put that in the chat room, Dele? Or do you just want me to look at it?
Yeah, I want you to look at it because I think the price is a lot different. For at least the all states and federal, it looks like it's about $274 a month, which is not too bad. If you want to do for a single state, you're looking at 136.
Well, when they call me, I'll call you. But if it's that, whatever it is, almost within reason, I'm going to have to get it because I have so many cases. So you looked under general counsel, or did you go into law firm? Did you go under?
I went into law firm.
They may not let us do that. I looked at the general counsel because geared toward growing nonprofit organizations and small to medium businesses. If they allow you to have it for the law firm, so I'm looking at that one now.
Yeah, I mean, there was only three options. There was law firm, business, and government. I guess business could include, yeah, probably business.
And what kind of price did you see for all of them? About 500? Is that the same?
Oh, when you go to business, the minimum is
500. Yeah.
560. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what they come up with, and I'm always above board, whatever it has to be. And then it has to be because I have way too much going on to not have it. Even if I weren't doing consultations or anything like that, I just personally have too many cases going on that I cannot afford to be inadequately prepared, even if I do have other resources that I can utilize because of my independent associations. So that helps me, but I want to still be able to give anybody who comes to me so that we can study together. I like to be able to utilize something that I own and don't have any issue sharing or whatever the rules are and following all the rules. So how are your cases going?
You talking to me?
Yeah, it's talking to me. Yeah, I'm talking to you.
I had a couple of appeals. I finally filed them. I didn't have to pay the fee for it, which was about $550 each. So it would have cost like $1,100 to file both of those. Yeah.
That's something that we want to talk about. But hold on, I see my man MJ's in here. MJ, you got anything you want to add, or I know we have things you have going on. Anything you want to add or give as far as some good information to the guys in general as you are navigating the path, this journey yourself?
Just really, I mean, what I've learned from my process, just stay on top of everything.